Hello again and welcome to Focus Poetry with Miss Chavez. We're going to look again at the poem Butterfly Wings. I would like to read it first and then have you read it with me. Ready? Butterfly Wings by Eileen Fisher. How would it be on a day in June to open your eyes in a dark cocoon and soften one end and crawl outside and find you had wings to open wide? And find you could fly to a bush or a tree or float in the air like a boat at sea. How would it be? Okay, your turn. Read it with me. Ready? Butterfly Wings by Eileen Fisher. How would it be on a day in June to open your eyes in a dark cocoon and soften one end and crawl outside to find that you had wings to open wide? And find you could fly to a bush or a tree or float on the air like a boat at sea. How would it be? Okay, yesterday we talked about the title, the poet. We numbered our stanzas, we numbered our lines. We talked about what each stanza meant. And we looked at stanza 1, and that's the one that we had some concern about. And we said it was in June and it was a dark cocoon. But we wrote the word chrysalis here because we know from science class that a butterfly does not hatch out of a cocoon, a moth does. And the chrysalis is what a butterfly hatches out of. But we found out that Eileen Fisher probably wrote cocoon because cocoon and June rhyme. And June and chrysalis don't rhyme. And we're thinking that's the reason that she wrote cocoon instead of chrysalis. We read in stanza 2 that that's where they were going through metamorphosis. Stanza 3 was fly or float on the air. And stanza 4 was what would it be? Okay. If you notice, oh, and then we also went through and did our rhyming words. If you notice what I did today is I highlighted the word dark, soften, outside, open, find, and float. And the reason I did that is because I think those are some really good words to go with some synonyms. So if I look, we've talked about this before, synonyms are the same. Okay, so synonyms are the same. And we said antonyms are opposite. So antonyms are opposite. So what I would like to do is I want to talk about some antonyms today. The reason I pulled these words out is because I think that it would be very easy to find a way or a word that you could use as an antonym for these words. So I'm going to give you a minute to look at these words and see if you can figure out what an antonym, the opposite of that word would be. All right, ready? Go. All right, ready? Let's see what we got. I thought about the antonyms being the opposites. So what was the opposite of dark? What did you say? Light. What's the opposite of soften? You're right, harden. What's the antonym for outside? Of course, it's inside. What's the antonym for open? Closed. What about find? Lose or lost. And the opposite of float is sink. Sink is a multiple meaning word, so you can sink down in the water or you can wash your dishes in the sink. So those are what I came up with for our synonyms and antonyms, and it's just a fun way to go over what we've been talking about in class. We've talked about synonyms and antonyms for a while. Synonyms are a little bit easier than antonyms to come up with, so that's why I chose antonyms to go over for our poem today. So thank you so much for joining me. Go outside, see if you can find a chrysalis that has a butterfly growing in it or a cocoon with a moth in it. Watch and see if you see them grow and change. It's a fun, exciting time. It doesn't take too long, but it's a really neat experience. So thank you for helping me bring science into poetry. It's a lot of fun, and we'll see you next time on Focus Poetry. Bye.